Hey guys, so today I want to talk about the worst handyman job I've ever had. So, for those of you who don't know, I decided to take up doing a handyman service in about my last year or two in Dallas. I had been working for the 3 years prior for a concert venue out there, and my job was basically I stood at the stage left door, so and if anybody came up to me and they wanted to go backstage, they'd have to show me their pass. If you have a pass, go ahead and go back. If you don't, sorry, I can't let you back. Um, Easy job, no special skills required. Just you know, just telling you what my job was. Um, and so one night, I decided while I was working there that I fix everybody's cars anyway. I'm always helping people move. I like doing stuff. um, I might as well make money with it. So I decided to become a handyman. So I'm working the Chance the Rapper show, and while the work wasn't difficult or hard, it wasn't really hard work. Really, we worked long hours because you have to set up, um, do the whole concert. The concert ends at 2 o'clock, and then you have to clean up the venue. So a lot of times we wouldn't get home or even to our cars until 4 or 5 in the morning. So this was one of those nights. It was Chance the Rapper, and one of the guys who, like a guy that I knew, his girlfriend came up to me and said, "Can you do a job tomorrow morning for $100?" And while $100 isn't going to, like, you're not getting rich off $100. Like, I kind of knew her, and he was like him and I were cool. The boyfriend, like, we were like not friends, but we were friendly or whatever. So I'm like, yeah. So the way it was described to me, her friend owns a store or something, and I'm gonna go do something with flower pots or something. So she just gave me the address, and I she said try to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you know, I get home at like maybe 6 in the morning, so I'm not gonna take a nap or anything because I'll fall asleep and I won't wake up. So I pull all nighter and I put on some It's Always Sunny or American Dad or something. I just chill and kick it for an hour, and then I get my gear and I take the truck over to the address, right? And I wasn't really tired. It was just kind of a second wind kind of thing. Um, Now normally I have a rate. My rate is $60 an hour, um, which so what people don't understand is this: handymen, handy people, man or woman, whatever it is, there's two things they're not. One of them is they're not a kid in high school in the 1980s mowing your lawns for $5. They're not that guy. They're also not a 25-year master, electrician, steam fitter, pipe fitter, plumber. They're not that guy either. We're right in the middle. Anyway, so people don't realize that. They ask my rate, and I tell them, and they go, "Oh, I could get a local kid to do." It's like, all right, well, it's up to you. If you think a local high school kid can build you a deck that you can put your family on safely, go for it. Anyway, so that's what a handyman is, and that's what a handyman isn't. Um, anyway, so I'm there at 8 o'clock. And me personally, I'm never late for anything. I'm probably there at 7:45, but I'm there at 8 o'clock, and it's a house. It isn't even a storefront. It isn't even a shop. It's a house. So I knock on the door, and I'm like, I was sent over here by let's call her Sally. Okay, I don't want to say the name just in case feelings get hurt. I was sent over here by Sally. I'm supposed to install some planter boxes or build something here, and she's like, "Oh yeah, come on back. Sally should be here in a minute." So I walk through the house, and she's like, I walk through the house, and I walk out in the back patio through the sliding glass door, and I'm looking around, and I'm waiting for Sally. So the whole time I'm sitting there, the lady who answered the door is doing her morning routine. She's, still in her robe. She's making coffee. She's doing her normal before work stuff that she does. But I don't have a clue what I'm doing there. So I'm just like faking it, just kind of like straightening up stuff and doing like measurements, whatever, to just like, instead of just sitting there like an idiot. So Sally doesn't show up for 45 minutes. I'm already irritated, but I'm like, all right, things happen in life. Maybe she's got a good excuse. So 8:45, Sally shows up, and other than, hey, sorry I'm late, the very first thing that she says to me is this. I know a lot about DIY, and I know a lot about, I watch a lot of HGTV and stuff. So we're going to make sure we do things my way. And I'm like, all right, so you're the homie's girlfriend. That was really rude of you to say that, in my head or whatever, but I'm just like, I'm going to let that slide or whatever, So she tells me what she wants done. So I get started. And she wants a line of 6 or 8 planter boxes mounted on a masonry wall. Okay. So she says she wants them here, straight line. So the first thing I do is I make a measurement from the bottom of this one here, and I come down, 10 inches or whatever the measurement is, and I make a mark. And I go to the very end of it, and I do the same measurement, and I make a mark. And then I take a chalk line, and I snap a line. And it's a laser straight chalk line mark. It is laser straight. So we have a good basis to work off of. And then I turn around to my bag, I go out to the truck to get my my drill and everything, my masonry bit, my hammer drill. And when I come back with the extension cord and all the stuff I need, she's got a wet rag and she's wiping off my chalk line. And I'm like, what's going on here? Was it not in the right spot? She goes, no, it was the right spot, but you did it wrong. And then she takes this little, so I have a combination, I have a combination square, right? And she takes the ruler part of it, and over the exact same line that I just made with the chalk line, the exact same line, she's taking the thing and she's holding it up to the wall with one hand, and then with a colored pencil, or a pencil, I guess, it's a white wall, she's drawing, and then she's just moving the ruler over. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, that's really weird. So she basically erased my line with a chalk line, and then, because she had never seen a chalk line before, she decides to go over the exact same line, just with a different method. A much less efficient, much more tedious method. And I'm like, man, this is not going to be a good morning. This is going to be a bad day. So I let it go. Then we need to go to Home Depot to go get some screws, these special screws to fasten the planter boxes to the wall. So the way it works is there's a bracket that you screw on, and then the planter box themselves kind of clip on there. So you're only screwing the bracket onto the wall. And the planter boxes with soil and plant and the weight of the machine, the box itself, and water, the weight might have been at its heaviest 10 pounds. Like they're little small boxes made for single plants each one. So anyway, she goes. So we go to the front of the house, and I jump in the truck to go to Home Depot, and the passenger seat or the passenger side is next to the sidewalk, and I'm looking out. I get in the car, put on my seatbelt, the truck, and I say, "You ready to go?" And she's like, "No, I'm calling a car service." And I'm like, "What do you mean calling a car service?" She's like, "I have to go to Home Depot." And I'm like, "Yeah, we're going to Home Depot right now to get the supplies. Like, this is a truck. Like, go ahead and open the door and jump in. I'm already going there." Like, and she's like, "No, I'm going to call a car service because they can take me to Home Depot." And I'm like, "Right, Sally, I'm here currently right now doing the job that you are talking about. I'm going right now to Home Depot to get the screws, the very same screws that you want to get. Like, I'm going there right now. Like, pretend I'm your car service." So I had to commit, like, whatever. So finally, she gets in the truck, and we drive to Home Depot a few miles away. And the screws that she wants, that for whatever reason she wanted some special kind of screws, they didn't have it. And I'm like, "Well, these other masonry screws will work. They're rated for 30 pounds, and they are, they're good. They're good to go." And she goes, "No, I want them all to match for when they move." And I go, "Oh, you didn't tell me the people were moving out of the house." And she goes, "Well, they're not moving." And I'm like, "All right, well, what was all that moving comment then?" She's like, "Well, in the future, if they ever do move." I'm like, "Well, they're not taking the planter boxes with them, and if they do, they're just going to pull the screws out. It's not like the screws are hidden. Like for any people that are at the house, the screws are hidden." So we're there for 30 minutes. Finally, she agrees that it doesn't really matter what screws they use as long as they're masonry, they're rated for strong enough, and the fact that they're hidden. All right. So we get that, and we get this masonry patch, putty basically, and it's a powder form. So So we get finally after like maybe half an hour of being in the store, and what should have took 5 minutes. So then we go back and we get back to the house, and I'm trying to ignore her or whatever. We start drilling the holes, right? And for some reason she changes her mind on one of the planter boxes. She's like, "Oh no, you know what? I don't want that anymore." And so there's a hole in the wall, the masonry wall, that after I drilled them all, she changed her mind. And the hole's not like very big, but it's pretty stout. Like it's probably 3/8 of an inch maybe across. It's a pretty good sized hole. Like you would definitely notice it, and you couldn't just paint over it. So she takes this masonry wall filler, and there's this bucket laying there, like kind of next to the faucet or the hose bib, and she's takes this bucket, which is probably like almost a gallon, and she fills it up more than halfway. So basically, like imagine half a gallon of water, and she opens up this powder mix to make a slurry, and I go, "Okay, I've used that stuff before. Make sure when you do it, it's like axle grease or like it's almost like paste, because you're gonna try to patch a vertical hole in the wall." And of course, she knows what she's doing. She does this stuff all the time for some reason. She patches masonry walls. So anyway, so she's looking through my bag, one of my handyman bags, and she finds this old Sawzall blade that I use for demolition. So she takes the Sawzall blade and like this half-gallon of water, and she takes this pinch of powder from the bag. And the powder got the consistency of like flour. Takes one pinch of it and throws it, or like puts it in a half-gallon of water and gives it a stir. So the slurry or the mix is about the consistency of a half-gallon of water and a pinch of flour. It's basically still water. And then I watched this grown woman take an old Sawzall blade and try to patch a hole about as big around as your pinky with essentially water about 15 times in a row. And I'm like, yo, Sally, it has to be thicker. It will not stand on its own. It'll keep pouring out of the wall like it's doing right now. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. I do this stuff all the time. She doesn't, by the way. So there was that. And then, so it's at this time where I'm like, what am I doing this for? I don't need $100. Like, I certainly don't need this shit. So then she goes, I go, yeah, you know what? You do got this. You pretty much don't even need me here. Like, it was the best way I could think of to end it without like causing a rift between me and her boyfriend. Like who I was, he wasn't like, he was the homie, but he wasn't like the homie. Anyway, like as far as I know, him and I are still cool. And then she goes, oh yeah. So I go, I'm just gonna kind of take off or whatever. You got this. You don't need me. And it was the nicest thing I could think of to say. And then she goes, well, I actually can't pay you. And color me surprised. She goes, you're gonna have to get the money from boyfriend's employer. We both worked at the same place, different positions, but we worked at the same at the same place. We had the same bosses, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Well, I didn't actually bring any money to pay you," and I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. I don't really need the money today, but you did come to me and say like, I need your help. I'm gonna pay you $100. I agreed to it. I'm here. I've done as much of the job as I can stand right now. Why can't you pay me? Well, you work at the same place that my boyfriend works, and so that's your employer. So I want my boyfriend to get the money from them to pay you." And I'm like, you know what? Just keep it. I'm not gonna. First of all, I'm not gonna sweat $100. It's not like that at all. I only took this job to be nice to you. Don't. I'm out of here. Don't call me again. Like, I'm not gonna ask my boss for money. Had nothing to do with the business. It doesn't make any sense. So I got out of there. Anyway, that's probably my worst handyman job I've ever had. There's no correlation between handyman and MMA or anything like that. Well, I guess handyman are the MMA fighters of the professional world. Yes, a master plumber will do a better job at plumbing than a handyman. And yes, a world champion jiu-jitsu competition, a jiu-jitsu guy would out-grapple a good MMA jiu-jitsu guy. And yes, a professional boxer will outbox a good MMA boxer. Like I say, if you want to make a correlation. But yeah, that was the worst job I've ever been on. And the story's kind of rushed. Nothing was embellished at all, and nothing was omitted. It wasn't like I I was late or I was, a jerk or whatever. That is a story in its entirety. I feel like there was one more embarrassing thing I feel like there was one more story that happened, but I can't remember what it was. God damn it. But I think that's, let's see, the car service, the being late, the we're going to do things my way comment, the patching a hole with a old Sawzall blade and water, the payment thing. Yeah, that's it. So guys, that was my worst handyman job I've ever done. Second worst was a person that, whatever. Anyway, I got some good handyman stories too. I'll tell those later, but I just want to get that out there. So for the longest time, every time I saw Sally, I wasn't mean to her. I just kind of avoided her. Yeah, that's it, guys. So just know what a handyman is and what a handyman isn't. And understand that, look, you paid me to put in, to do a plumbing job. If you're so-and-so, your uncle or whoever that's a master plumber, could have done it better, well, you go find yourself a master plumber and you pay him his rate, which is deservedly 5 times more than mine. You get what you pay for. The plumbing works. It does not leak. It doesn't, the deck that I built for you to your specs and in your budget, see, a problem, one of the big things about handyman is you'll hear this all the time. You'll hear this every job, almost. Just do it as cheap as you can. So then when you build them a deck or something, and you literally do it as cheap as you can, you use a material from a job that had surplus wood, you go to the Home Depot or Lowe's, you look at the coal packs, and you determine the structural integrity of the wood is good enough to use for decking or whatever without cutting any corners. They don't really mean do it as cheap as you can. What they mean is build this Japanese style pagoda with ancient joinery and that I saw on Instagram or I saw on House Beautiful or Better Homes Garden. I want you to build that for me. I want you to build it in one day. Also, can you do it for I don't know, $100? It's like, no. Go hire a master Japanese craftsman. I'm a handyman. I put in disposals. I put in sinks. I put in ceiling fans. I build you a deck. I'll power wash your property for you. I'll get your car running for you. Know what a handyman is and know what a handyman is not. And no, I'm not going to come out to your house and work for $10 an hour mowing your lawn. There are plenty of local kids who want money for the football team or the field trip or whatever people are into these days that will do that for you. All right, guys, that's my rant, and that was the worst handyman job I've ever done. Thanks, guys. Bye.